My name is Alex. I'm 33 years old, and I thought my life was perfect. I live in a small town called Willow Creek. It's quiet, with green trees, narrow streets, and friendly neighbors. People often say I have a good life. I have a steady job as an insurance investigator, a cozy apartment, and I was supposed to have a wife. Her name is Lily. She's 29. Beautiful, smart, funny, and everyone loves her. We've been together for 6 years, engaged for 1 year, and we were deep into planning our wedding, final details, and all. 2 weeks to the wedding, I was in the backyard, fixing a small wooden gazebo I had built. It was supposed to be a cozy place for summer evenings, a place for us to unwind after long days. My hands were sore, my back was aching, and I felt thirsty. I went inside to get a drink. That's when I saw something that stopped me in my tracks. Lily was in the kitchen, chopping vegetables and talking on her phone. I didn't recognize the voice at first, but then I heard him say, "Where's my wife? She hasn't replied to my messages." Lily smiled and said, "Oh, she just left here. She should be home in about 30 minutes. I blinked. I thought I misheard. 30 minutes? Who? I walked closer. Lily was texting her sister while still talking to him on speakerphone. My heart started to race. "Wait, what's going on?" I asked. "Oh, he was looking for his wife," she said casually, not even looking up from her phone. My mind started spinning. Her sister had not been here. The last time we saw her was yesterday, helping with wedding decorations. And yet, Lily told this man, her sister's husband, that she'd just left, that she'd be home soon. I sat down with my drink, trying to calm myself, but the thought kept repeating. Why would she lie? Did she know where her sister was? Or was she helping her hide something? I wanted to ask her, but a part of me was scared. Scared of the answer. Scared of what I might discover. I tried to push the thought away, telling myself I was imagining things. Maybe I was overthinking. But deep down, something told me I wasn't. Hours passed. I kept replaying her words, analyzing every detail, every text, every little pause. I wanted to believe Lily was innocent, that this was just a small misunderstanding. But the more I thought, the less I believed. Finally, I couldn't resist anymore. I grabbed her phone. We both knew each other's pins, so it wasn't hard. I unlocked it quietly, trying not to make a sound. My stomach twisted as I scrolled through the messages. It was worse than I could imagine. There were hundreds of messages, hidden conversations, secrets she had been keeping for months. Her sister was having an affair, and Lily was helping her cover it up. She was writing to her sister, warning her, lying to her brother-in-law. She had been helping deceive someone for months, without any hesitation. I felt sick. My hands shook. My heart raced. I put the phone back, pretending I hadn't seen anything. But I knew. I knew I couldn't marry her. I couldn't pretend everything was okay. 2 weeks. 2 weeks until the wedding. And I felt like my entire world had just collapsed. I went into my office and sat down at my desk, trying to think. What was I going to do? How could I face this? How could I tell anyone, especially Lily? My mind was a storm of anger, sadness, and confusion. I had invested so much time, money, and hope into this wedding. The thought of canceling, telling my family, facing the embarrassment, made me feel like I might be sick. But at the same time, I knew the truth. I couldn't ignore it. I thought about calling her brother, but I hesitated. I needed to be sure. I needed to figure out the next steps. But every option felt impossible. Every choice felt like a disaster waiting to happen. I sat there in silence, staring at the floor, wondering how I had missed the signs for so long. How could I have loved someone so deeply, and yet known so little about them? And then it hit me. I had a decision to make. A life-changing decision. I couldn't marry her. Not after what I had seen. But how do you end a life together that's been planned for months? How do you break the news without everything falling apart? My hands were still shaking. My mind still racing. I knew one thing for sure, the next 2 weeks were going to be the hardest in my life. And I had no idea how I would survive them. I spent the rest of the night pacing my apartment. Every time I tried to sleep, my mind raced back to Lily, her sister, and the messages I had seen. I kept thinking, how long has she been lying? How many people does she trust with secrets, and how many does she deceive? By morning, I knew I couldn't wait any longer. I needed advice from someone I trusted. I called my older brother, Ryan. He lives in another city, but he always helps me see things clearly. Alex, slow down. Tell me everything, Ryan said calmly when I explained the situation. I poured it all out, the lies, the secret messages, everything. I expected him to be angry at me for snooping. But instead, he was steady. You're not crazy, Alex. You saw the truth. You can't ignore this. You're allowed to protect yourself. His words gave me a tiny bit of courage. But courage doesn't make the situation easier. I still had to face Lily. I still had to cancel the wedding. And I still had to deal with all the people involved. Later that day, I decided to check her sister's work schedule. Maybe I could find more clues, understand what was going on, and at least know what I was up against. I had no idea I was stepping into a storm I couldn't control. Her sister, Ava, worked at a small marketing firm downtown. I watched her from a distance, careful not to be seen. I noticed her leaving with a man I didn't recognize. They laughed, held hands, and even waved at each other when no one else was around. My heart sank. My worst suspicions were correct. Lily had known about all of this. She had lied to her brother-in-law. She had helped Ava hide an affair. And now, it felt like she had drawn me into a secret I couldn't ignore. I went home, trying to make sense of it all. My mind felt heavy, like carrying a bag full of stones. Every scenario I imagined was worse than the last. Then I realized something. If I wanted to do this carefully, I needed proof. Not just for myself, but in case anyone denied it. I couldn't just confront Lily with my feelings, I needed evidence. So, I made a plan. I would follow Ava discreetly, gather information, and see if there was more I didn't know. I felt nervous, almost guilty for watching her like a stranger. But I couldn't stop. My heart was telling me that the truth was more important than comfort. The next day, I drove past Ava's office around 5:30 p.m. I saw her get into a car with the same man I had seen before. I parked a few blocks away and followed them. They didn't go far, just to a small cafe. I watched from across the street, pretending to check my phone. Ava and the man sat close together, whispering, laughing. It was worse than I imagined. Lily had been helping her sister hide this. I could feel my stomach turn. How could someone I loved so much be part of this? I knew I had to act. I texted Ryan, I can't just watch anymore. I need to confront Lily tonight. He replied immediately, be careful, Alex. Don't let your anger control you. But yes, you need to face it. You need to protect yourself. I waited until the apartment was quiet. Lily was in the living room, flipping through a magazine. I sat down across from her. My hands shook, my voice was tight, but I spoke anyway. Lily, I know about Ava. I know you've been helping her hide something from her husband. I saw the messages. Her face changed. Shock. Then panic. Then, something I couldn't read. You snooped, she whispered. I had to, I said. I needed to know the truth. And now I do. I can't marry you. Not after this. She froze. Her eyes filled with tears. Alex, I didn't mean to hurt you. I was just trying to protect her. I didn't think it would matter. I felt my heart break a little. I wanted to scream. I wanted to cry. I wanted to understand. But the truth was clear. The woman I loved had been lying, not to me directly, but helping someone else deceive a man she knew well. 2 weeks until the wedding. And now, it was over. My plans, my hopes, my dreams of a life with her, gone. I left the apartment that night, walking in the cold air to clear my mind. The city lights shimmered, but nothing felt bright. I felt lost, confused, and more alone than ever. But deep down, I knew I had made the right choice. I couldn't marry someone who was comfortable lying, even for family. That thought gave me a small, bitter comfort. I also knew the next steps would be hard. Telling my family, canceling the wedding, facing Lily's family. I didn't know how people would react. I didn't know how I would react. But I couldn't go back. And so, I walked, letting the cold wind wake me up, trying to prepare for the storm I had just entered. The next morning, I woke up feeling heavy, like my chest was weighed down with stones. I hadn't slept well. My mind replayed everything, Lily, Ava, the messages, the lies. I knew I had to face the day, but the thought of making calls, canceling plans, and confronting people made my stomach twist. I decided to call my brother Ryan first. He had been my anchor through the storm so far, and I needed advice before facing Lily's family. Alex, you're doing the right thing, he said gently. It's hard now, but you can't let anyone else's expectations force you into a marriage that would break you. I took a deep breath. I knew he was right. I couldn't ignore what I had discovered. I couldn't live with someone who had helped cover up lies for months. First, I had to let Lily's family know the wedding was off. I called her parents, trying to keep my voice steady. Her mother cried, her father was silent. I felt guilty, but I had to be firm. Then came the hardest part, telling my own family. They had spent so much time, effort, and money planning everything. I was scared of their anger, their disappointment. But when I explained the truth, they were shocked, but supportive. My mother hugged me and said, "Alex, you did the right thing. Don't let anyone pressure you into something that isn't right for you." It felt like a weight lifted a little. Not completely, but enough to know I wasn't alone. That evening, I knew I had to talk to Lily one last time. I went to her apartment, the one place I had once imagined our future. She opened the door, her eyes red from crying. "Alex, I'm so sorry," she whispered. "I can't do this, Lily," I said quietly, but firmly. "I can't marry you. Not after knowing what you've been doing." She looked at me, broken, and I felt a pang in my heart. I had loved her. I still did, in a way. But love isn't enough when trust is gone. "I didn't mean to hurt you," she said again. "I was just trying to protect Ava. I didn't think it would affect us." "I know," I said, my voice shaking. "But it did. It affects everything. I can't go forward. I have to end this before it destroys both of us." We sat in silence for a while. I didn't want to leave, but staying felt wrong too. I kissed her cheek, quietly, one last time. Then I turned and walked away. The next days were a whirlwind. I canceled the wedding venues, notified friends, and sorted out finances. Every task reminded me of what could have been. The life I imagined with Lily was gone. But the truth, as painful as it was, gave me freedom. I could start over. I could rebuild my life without lies shadowing every decision. I spent some time alone, walking in the park, thinking. The trees swayed gently, the air smelled of early spring. I realized something important. Sometimes the hardest decisions are the ones that save you. Sometimes ending something you love is the only way to protect your heart. Weeks passed. The pain softened, but the lessons stayed. I learned to trust my instincts, to value honesty above appearances, and to never ignore the signs. I also learned that love without trust is like a house built on sand. Beautiful, maybe, but it can't stand. Life didn't stop. It kept moving forward, one step at a time. And so did I. I started small, taking walks, reconnecting with friends, focusing on work. I even laughed again. Slowly, the pieces of my heart stitched back together. I still think of Lily sometimes. I wonder if she learned the same lessons I did. But mostly, I think about how fragile trust is, and how precious honesty can be. 2 weeks before our wedding, my life fell apart. And now, months later, I see it as the moment that saved me from a life I never truly wanted. It hurt like hell. But I survived.
What would you do if you were Alex? End the relationship before the wedding or try to forgive? Share your answer in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe for more interesting English stories. Key vocabulary from the story are: collapse, deceive, discreetly, anchor, and instinct. Collapse means to fall down or break apart suddenly. Deceive means to make someone believe something that is not true. Discreetly means to do something carefully and quietly to avoid attention. Anchor means a person or thing that gives stability or support. Instinct is a natural feeling or reaction. Lesson of the day. Trust. Trust means a belief that someone is honest and will not hurt you. It means you believe someone is good and safe. Examples from the story. I had loved her. I still did, in a way. But love isn't enough when trust is gone. I also learned that love without trust is like a house built on sand. Beautiful, maybe, but it can't stand. More examples. You need trust to have a strong friendship. She lost trust in her business partner after the lie. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and share. You can watch the next story here or explore our playlist for more inspiring stories. And don't forget to subscribe, more interesting stories for learning English are coming soon.